Well, hello there. That is the wrong thing, though. That is Discord. Hello, Discord. Close all of that. Open up that. And I want this. Greetings. Thank you for joining me for episode 2 of Post-Apocalypse World for Burning R&D. So a lot happened in the second session, as seems... I think that might that's going to happen frequently with the group that we have. I think that, yeah. So, we had Haas. He basically got caught in the next session. So, that's resolved, but also new things are going to happen due to that. But yeah, the group is going to be increasingly good at focusing down specific clocks and just like sniping them instead. Usually, I think with most Apocalypse World stuff, you often have like one character handles a couple clocks, another it usually is pretty spread out, and rarely are clocks, sometimes, but not that often, are clocks dealt with to their fullest or threats. Yeah, they dealt with Haas. They didn't kill him. He's been apprehended, and so I look forward to seeing what's going to happen next session. But, yeah, more threats have come out of that, so we're going to go through all that. I did some pre-prep, so hopefully it won't take 3 hours this time. In fact, I'm quite sure it won't. So, yeah, let's get into it. So, here you can see all of the clocks. I added a few others since last time. I think we were up to Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. That's where it ended, so I added 3 more at the bottom here after talking with everyone. One, I decided I initially wanted to wait to add a threat for Drimmer himself. I decided, yeah, I'll add a threat for Drimmer himself and just not use it for a while. So, if we zoom into here, you can see it. So this is not going to be a quick clock. This is going to be a short-term one. This is going to be a long-term one that might happen eventually when the other related threats, the connected threats here, have either progressed or even finished or been dealt with. Dremmer will leave his own molten throne and decide to visit the oil rig personally and in force. So it's going to start with him denouncing all false heat, because of course he leads a heat cult from a volcano. Only the natural heat of the earth, not the black blood taken from it wrongfully. So he's all about that. Doesn't like the oil rig at all. Just what it stands for, what it does as a building even. He'd like to destroy that as a building. So he starts denouncing it, and then he's going to attack Dockyard. Like, he's just going to move up in force. There will be warnings for this, and it's not going to be like, oh, next session. It's eventually he's going to attack Dockyard with some build up. He's going to win. He's kind of a big deal. Dockyard's a bit of a small town, hunting lodge type of thing. The people that are there are tough, but there's not enough of them to like fend off a full-fledged assault. Then the hot springs we blocked up because they are once again a source of false heat. He will block up the hot springs. There goes water. There goes most of the people around here's source of water that is not frozen and doesn't have to be melted. So, yeah. Then the last 3 are going to be somewhat quick together. An ultimatum is given, Dremmer attacks, and the oil rig is destroyed if, again, the players don't do something. So he's going to give an ultimatum. I don't yet know exactly what it will be. The players... it'll depend on the circumstance of all the other fronts and what everything else is like. It's likely going to be some sort of, like... we won't kill everyone in there, but you all exit. We're then going to blow up the oil rig, and then you're going to come and join us, and we're going to be a much bigger, better heat cult together. So that's going to be the type of the ultimatum he gives. It's not going to be like a friendly deal. It's going to be do this or die. And then, yeah, those will all happen. So the stakes I have right now are, can a deal be struck with him? Because I don't think the ultimatum's a separate deal. I mean, a more reasonable deal will be struck with him. Who will leave the rig and join Dremmer? Because as he approaches, some people will want to back what appears to be a winning horse. We won't know for sure if it will be a winning horse. And what will Dremmer do to Grigsby? Because Grigsby listed Dremmer as one of the people that he, and I quote, pissed the fuck off. So it's not just pissed off. Dremmer hates Grigsby for something, and it could just be like Grigsby said, it was more general reporting on his stuff. I might ask some more questions about that later, in terms of more detail, if there was a specific thing, or if Dremmer just really doesn't like reporters and like really hates people telling the truth about what he's doing. Next one, I decided to make one for the Ice Raiders, because I forgot about them. So I made one for them and used them in our session. Ice Raiders, we talked about them. They can tend to hide in the ice, ambush, disguise themselves in white, and bury themselves in the ice and jump up out of it. Those can be removed. So they're going to go looking for new turf, and I decided to tie this into, because there is supposed to be a threat for the Angels' supplier, if they have one. And the supplier isn't a person in this case, so it's harder to sort of deal with that if the supplier is a place, which it is for Kim. So I decided to tie that into this. So there is this hidden Coast Guard ship somewhere in the ice. The Ice Raiders, if things don't change, they're going to stumble upon the Coast Guard ship, and they are going to use it. That will mean that, of course, the Angel loses access to their supplier, unless they'd have to either get a new one, get this one back. This isn't going to be, again, I'll talk about the thing I was about to talk about separately, because it has to do with all of my threats. So eventually they're going to go looking for new turf, stumble on the Coast Guard ship, the scouts will report back to the Raiders, the Raiders will arrive and set up shop, and they will start raiding. But after they've been there for a while, the Coast Guard ship will be fortified, and it'll be effectively impossible to, not effectively impossible, it'll be much, much more difficult to get them out of that ship. And they're not, I think that might be it. They don't want to destroy and take everything. They're fairly smart raiders. If there are still towns nearby, that means they can keep raiding those towns instead of a one-time giant raid and then there's nothing around. They have to leave anyways. Yeah. So they're not gonna attack the rig in force or anything. That'll be Drummer. And the last one, I forgot to make one for. I made one for Grigsby's security. I didn't make one for Whisks because I forgot about that. So we made them. I made a clock about them basically being unhappy that Kettle was missing. Kettle is no longer missing, so this has been dealt with. We will get to that. I have a bunch of stuff here about what we'll... In fact, we'll get to that. And the only other thing I want to mention before we really get into our threats is... During this past session, I noticed that I was doing... I would say in the middle of the session, not during the prep. I think I was... not quite portraying threats in the best possible way. I think... How would I call this? Sorry, I lost OBS. I think that I was making all the clocks tick forward effectively at the same time in the same session, explicitly telling my players about them all, and it felt... I think it felt overwhelming to my players, instead of... and somewhat artificial, rather than... making Apocalypse feel real. It felt too threatening. And it's a freaking Apocalypse world, but it's oh, here's... I think I, did 9 different threats, all happening within... Some of them were really quickly next to each other, so I think I'm going to spread that out a bit more. They'll still be happening sometimes, but if they're happening in the background, then they're happening in the background. I'm still going to try to tell my players in more subtle ways. And other times I'm going to tick them at different rates from each other, because I sort of just was ticking them all along the same rate. So I'm going to try to do that. Let's begin. So, the immigrants to the rig. So this is still ticking along. I don't think this second part has happened yet, though. Mimi has broadcasted across... I don't think the Evercold is a thing. That's just the name I've been giving this place. Across the land. So she's done that. We saw that happen. And she is still looking. She wants to do it again, which is good. That's actually quite good. But the stream of desperate people are growing. Food, we haven't yet gotten to this stage. Food has not yet been rationed. That might happen next session, depending on how things go. Depending on how much time passes. But yeah, people are beginning to... The streams of people are growing. We're seeing that. Does anything here have to change? The gates could be shut. How will the crowds affect Mimi? We haven't seen that yet. What's going to happen to Litz? How will Fleece bargain with Whisk? We haven't seen that happen yet, and especially... I wonder... Well, we're going to make a separate threat to do with all the stuff that happened in the last session, to do with the food supply with Haas. Like, the thing is, Mimi is now the best person to deal with the food situation, because there's no way they're... Well, actually, it's possible they might let Haas do it. Anyways, that'll be its own threat. I think that the first scene next session will likely be Haas is in custody, and it's like Fleece, and some shepherds, and Whisk, and Grigsby. And that's it. And they decide his fate, along with those of Kettle and Dogmeat. So we will figure that out. That's still ticking along, slowly. I don't think anything should change, though. How is Kim going to get Angel's Sky when the gates close? Who will suffer the first violence of too many people? We haven't seen the first violence yet from too many people. We've seen other violences. And what will happen to the sheep? So we don't know any of these. The questions are still important. Yeah. Leave it as is. Grigsby's security. Gonna leave it. We don't yet even know the name of any of the people amongst it. So... no clock at this time. Yeah. It's still a threat, and I have it in mind if a 6- is rolled while Grigsby's security thing is happening. That might be a thing. And I might make... Well, yeah. I'll make separate threats for Grigsby, because there are some that's going to be happening. Whisk's regulars. So these are just all of his regulars together. Maybe they'll, like, how far can Whisk be pushed? What happens when Taylor gets caught? These are all people that are Sybarites, so they consume someone's resources in different ways, and they are doing so. It's not a huge deal right now, because Whisk has a lot of resources. When that changes, this will become more and more important. Last one of the first of the top row, Gam's buyout. So we've seen Gam now. He did pay a visit to the wood stove. He gave Whisk a last offer, a last friendly offer. He was accompanied by Rex, one of his people. And, well, he really wants this place, so he's going to acquire it through whatever way he deems necessary. Let's see. He's going to pay a visit to Whisk, which is cool. Now, Rex pays a visit to Rolf Ball. That's not applicable anymore. He was going to pay a visit to Rolf Ball because Rolf Ball was in a relationship with Haas, who was his supplier. That's not a thing anymore at all. So paying a visit to Rolf Ball doesn't matter. What would Gam do? Well, let's see. Gam wants to make this place profitable. He wants to charge for everything. I think... I'm tempted to say Gam and Bean would strike a deal, but I don't think that's true. Bean has other stuff going on, especially with Kim now. So I think that Gam's going to do something else. Let me see. He lives in the dockyard. I did write some stuff down for him. Yeah. Gam's still going to pay a visit to someone, but just not to Rolf Ball. He's going to pay a visit to Fleece. This is going to pair well with the food is rationed and stuff like that. Gam's going to pay a visit to Fleece and basically say, if things Rex going to, like, after a while, when things are worse, presumably, Gam's going to try and petition to Fleece to literally make Whisk hand over the place, because we can't give away free food anymore, and Gam's going to charge for it. So this is and instead of Rolfball calls off the deal, Fleece is going to force Whisk to hand over the wood stove, or try to. Then the wood stove prices skyrocket. Climb isn't a big enough word. And then, see, Gam is a good businessman. Things are bad. Let's see, the wood stove becomes a shell of what it once was. Profitable and heartless. That is the 12 o'clock. Let me put this onto 2 lines. That's better. So, I do have a stakes question now. I'm curious as to what will Whisk's employees do should the wood stove be bought out? And how far will Whisk go to protect her, I guess, home is what it is to her. That's what I think of it. That's how I think of it in relation to her. I think that makes sense. This is still it's on the inside, but it's not super close right now. There's still a bunch of stuff. Wesk is going to pay visit to Rix. This is the sort of like, this is the bad cop to Gam's good cop. That's what Rex is to Gam. He still works for Gam. They're all partners, but yeah, they're yeah. Let's see what's next. Of course, Bean is a dick. I still love that name. Bean is a smirking prince. We've got Mercer, and we had Radar, and we had and lost Vonk. Rip Vonk. In fact, I'm gonna put it even in here because the fact that he was Bean's #1 goon and then was given to Kim and then died, that's gonna keep mattering until Bean gets over it, and it's his #1 goon. Bean is a dick, but he's not literally heartless. He's gonna not at all like that Funk died. So Bean has been starting to assault random customers. That's happened. We saw that with who was it? It was Litz, and I believe it was Toyota. No, Lamprey. It was Lamprey. So both of them have been assaulted by Bean and his guys. So he's gonna start consequences. A fight breaks out. I still not 100%. I think those. I want to specifically leave these blank because so many other things are happening at the same time. I have no idea what those consequences will be. Fleece might not even, I don't know. So we're just going to leave the consequences blank. Which of Whisk's regulars will Bean hurt? We answered that. Multiple of them. How long will Radar go along with it? We'll find that out hopefully soon. We are going... Do I have anything else? So I had a scene idea, and again, it might not even happen. But I think who joins Bean? Because I don't think these are randos who join Bean. I think these are named NPCs that we will have already seen in different circumstances. What I have in my mind, and I don't know if it'll remain true, are Flag and Flack from the Drinking Shack. And yes, that's an amazing sentence in the total. Flag and Flack from the Drinking Shack. They might. We'll see. That is it. We have not yet seen a grow aggro on Bean when he is alone. We might not ever, but hey. Next, Grigsby's informants. I decided, and I actually forgot to change this on Roll20, I decided to switch these two. There we go. So, something didn't sit right with me about this, and I think it was that just suddenly someone has the encrypted broadcast and can listen on Grigsby stuff. So I didn't like that part, so I switched these two. Somehow, it got to Dremmer that Harrow was an informant to Grigsby. So what we saw during voicemail left for Grigsby was that Dremmer's people came for him. They didn't didn't even harm anyone else except anyone who might have gotten in the way. But they came for Harrow and took Harrow and left. So that's what happened. Which informant will get attacked first? We answer that. It's Harrow. So he's gone. He's not dead. He's a guest of Dremmer. Someone will then listen in on an encrypted broadcast. That will be from... Dremmer will have interrogated Harrow and gotten everything he needs, all the information he needs to listen to, learn the encryption and listen in on it. The informant would turn traitor, so eventually Harrow's going to turn traitor. In fact, that's a stakes question. What will convince Harrow to betray? Because, telling the encryption thing is one thing, but working... when I mean traitor, I mean working with Dremmer against Grigsby. What will convince Harrow to betray... to work with Dremmer? And then the informant is going to start the offensive, and everything's going to happen like that. So that's one thing. Next, the fish fields. So this is not a clock one. We have the polar wolf bear things. The shepherds and their sheep, Fifi and Sibel, are all part of the fish fields threat, as well as all the shepherds, which I guess I already have there. Now, I have this idea in my head, and I'm going to make it a stakes question. Are the wolves... we know the raiders are moving into town. So, how will the raiders deal with the wolves? Because they might just kill them? They could just take the wolves and use them. I wouldn't say tame them, but muzzle them and use them as, they could work as mounts, but they'd likely use them as hunting, companions. So that could be a thing that eventually might happen. So I'm, maybe, leaving it as a stakes question. Halfway done the current threats, a couple more to add after, and some to destroy. Speaking of destroying one, Haas's obsession. So they went all the way, they investigated. The informant was abducted, I think, very quickly, very, very shortly. So, and it was, well, it depends on who the informant was. Anyways, they found out Haas. So this whole thing's gone. And I don't want to destroy the beginning question, so hold on. This whole thing has been dealt with. There's going to be a new threat that replaces it later. But for now, and it's going to be related to the Haas and the plants and father, and I don't even know what else is going on anymore. But they dealt with that. Haas is no longer a threat. Right now. Next, Kim's secret admirer. It's Litz. She's been observing Kim. That's part of the reason she went in, was A, because she was actually hurt by Bean, legitimately, and against her will, but she wanted to go to Kim's as well to see how he worked. So Litz did go through Kim's house. Kim doesn't have a house. Turns out Kim lives in, sleeps in her, doctor's office. That was extremely unclear to me until the end of the session. So that happened, basically, though. Litz hasn't yet learned the truth. That might happen next session, and then she's gonna go... She's gonna get aggressive. What does Litz want? How will she find the truth? What will Litz do when, or if, she learns the truth? Because I'm not quite sure what she's going to do. She has 2 kids. So she won't, she's not going to go suicidal, get herself killed. Or maybe she would. Maybe she'll forget all that. She'll get super emotional. Don't know. And that's it. Fleece's recruitment is the next threat. So we've got Fleece is a dictator warlord, extremely pragmatic, and when they make a decision, it must happen. Well, they can be. You can't argue against her. You got to persuade her otherwise. So Fleece visits Kim and asks about the augury and tries to recruit him, and has successfully recruited Kim, supposedly. I'm going to keep this here because Kim said yes. Kim didn't do yes, though. We don't know if Kim is going to follow through. So I'm going to leave that there for now. If Kim ends up changing her mind, or their mind, then Fleece might take more... this might continue. Fleece can take more action. Fleece wants that ability. If she can't have Kim, who can use that, she's going to try to figure out how to do it herself. Next, the wolf in sheep's clothing. I have many ideas for who the alpha wolf could be. This is like the person who is behind all of the recruiting against Fleece. They're there. They are there. They are still preparing, but this is going to significantly change now because of Grigsby's public announcement about the gun deal. That Grigsby knows that something's going on, and that Fleece knows that someone's dueling behind her back. So the Alpha Wolf is aware that they are being tracked. So I think everything's going to change here. They're going to need to deal with Grigsby, and I think they, especially with the arrest of Haas so quickly, I think they'd be aware of that. So they're going to go after Grigsby. I'm very heavily in... I think the Alpha Wolf is going to help. Who was it? See, Grigsby's informants and the wolf in sheep's clothing are both Dremor-related threats. The wolf in sheep's clothing is like a heat cult sleeper agent. That's basically what they are. And then Grigsby's informants, they are the people outside of the rig are acting together. So I think they're going to need to accelerate this plan in some way. I think I might change this as well, because I don't think they're going to attack the studio. I think they're going to accelerate things. This would take a bit of time to work up to the studio being attacked. The wolf is going to need to do things... I just got a better idea. That's going to stay the same. I think the wolf in sheep's clothing, you know what you need to lure away someone sniffing you out? Give them a distraction. Give them bait. Throw a stake at the dog. Grigsby's hunting down is probably going to just very shortly start hunting down what's going on. I think that this will provide... The Alpha Wolf provides Grigsby a distraction. Sends Grigsby on a wild goose chase. So I think this might be where we have to answer who the Alpha Wolf is, because they are the ones, they're currently acting alone. So they're the ones they're going to approach Grigsby and be like, yo, here's a thing, here's some problems that I need you to deal with as news reporter who cares about people. It may be true, it might not be true. And while Grigsby's off doing stuff, the Alpha Wolf will be, they'll have more freedom to act. So I'm going to go with the Alpha Wolf recruits. Hold on. How do I put this? spreads... No. Recruits its pack. I don't like most of this. This is going to switch as well, because it says recruit and recruit twice. That's kind of boring. The wolf pack... No. The wolves. Because I don't... It's kind of... When you have figurative, metaphorical wolves and literal wolves, things can get confusing if they're both things in the same setting and threat list. Anyways, the wolves begin spreading dissent among the crowds, which can be, honestly, if all the threats keep tracking, which we saw probably won't happen, that's going to be very easy for them to do. The purge begins, Fleece dies, and the Alpha Wolf takes command. So, the description and cast, these were the contenders for the Alpha Wolf, basically. I had some ideas, many of them, in fact. I also considered Bean being an Alpha Wolf. Like, he's a dick, but is he full-on evil, which this person would be closer to that, or is he the opposite, where he's actually kind of nice? We did see a hint of Bean this past session being like, yeah, my mother doesn't take it far enough, and things like that. But I don't like that as a thing. I'd rather have a different person be the wolf in sheep's clothing. I think two of the most obvious people would be Fifi or Sibel. They're shepherds. We know it has to be a shepherd. Which actually reminds me, it can't be Bean, because it was a shepherd. These are all the shepherds. It's got to be either Fifi or Sibel. I think that makes the most sense, and they're some of the people we've seen the least of. So I think that might be something. And it makes sense that they might send Grigsby on a wild goose chase, because Grigsby currently owes them 2 barter. He raised 2 barter in their name, and as far as the end of last session, he never gave it to them. So they might, one of them, it might be both of them could be the wolves in sheep's clothing. There might be more than one. They might simply say, okay, you owe me that 2 barter. Instead of that 2 barter, do this thing for me. And it'll get Grigsby out of the way. That's what they want. Fleece being the wolf in sheep's clothing doesn't make any sense, because they're overthrowing Fleece. So no. Ba, tempting. We've seen Ba. Could be Ba. Mimi already has her own stuff going on with Haas and with the radio stuff. Mercer is tempting. Fleece is second in command. Classic. Radar. Now, Radar is being second in command. So Radar would be in perfect position to spread dissent about Fleece while remaining hidden under the veil of it's just Bean being a dick. And the people that Bean would recruit could actually be Radar's people. Again, they listen to Radar, but Radar just says for now to listen to Bean. Why did that change? So, I'm thinking it's either Radar, Sibel, or Fifi. We haven't seen anything of Radar. Fifi and Sibel... I think I'll keep them as, like, actually normal, decent shepherds, because there's not much. So I think... could be Radar. Yeah. I think it'll be Radar. I like it being Fifi and Sibel, but I think I'll not add their evil twist to the nice couple, one of which is injured. But on the other hand, wait, Grigsby might have asked, is that... Okay, yeah, let's leave it as radar, because I just realized that makes the most sense. I think Grigsby asked, is she telling the truth in the very first session, when, who was it? I think Sibel was injured. And Fifi was, like, crying, and Grigsby was like, is she really sad? And I believe that was a yes, she was really sad, and I believe he asked that, if my memory's not failing me. Which means... Yeah, it's radar. So, who is the Alpha Wolf? Close. Did they recognize Mimi? I think that the Alpha Wolf... I don't know. Which important figure will join the wolf pack? We'll find out. Which of Risk's regulars will join? Because I think someone among there will join. Will any of the PCs join? We'll find out. We will find out. I think Radar is going to start off with I'm sick of Bean's crap, and then going to move... That's going to be their opening, like, I guess, veil, and then they're going to move from that into I'm sick of all of this crap type of deal. And start spreading dissent. So I think this still makes sense. Yeah. And also works out with Bean as a dick, which I think is here. How long will Radar go along with it? Which I thought was, how long will Radar be sick of being a dick and turn out to be a really nice person? Radar, that is. No, how long will Radar pretend to be only a dick and not totally evil? Dremmer. I think that's going to stay the same. We're going to see another... No, we don't need a description cast with Dremmer. Well, we might. I'll leave it. If Harrow does turn traitor, if that goes the full, if that ticks all the way over, then I think Harrow will be probably a cast member on both of these clocks. And I already looked at these beforehand, so before I go over them, is there anything I want to change? Not that. Not that. I think these are all going to stay the same. These I might switch. There was something I was going to say. Because I didn't... The scouts, like, these would both happen in the same thing. I think this is going to go to there. And then something else is going to happen here. If I remember correctly, I had an idea for it. Let's find out. Those are a bunch of questions I have for future and for threats I'm going to set up right after this. So... There we go. I think they're not just going to stumble around. I think there's a raid. There's a raid on, like, nearby. I'll figure out what it is and play. There's a raid nearby on travelers to or from the rig. Like, they're gonna raid. That's gonna be like they're nearby, and then we'll see all this. Okay. That's fine. I think that's all good right now. And then Whisk security, the last threat we have established. So this is totally changing because, of course, Kettle's been found. I will add, Kettle's going to stay there as a description member. Broth has been established as like the assistant manager of the wood stove, basically. But they found Kettle, so that clock's gone. They are like a family. Their impulse is to close ranks and protect their own. So I think they're going to do something like that. I'm going to start some sort of new clock. Actually, I don't know if I need a clock right now. I think it depends what happens this session. Because the big question is what will happen to Kettle? plant kettle. And will Whisk defend her? Stand up for her, I guess. Because no one really knows what's up with this. I don't know really what's up with this plant thing. So Haas's obsession isn't a thing anymore, which reminds me. I deleted that, okay. Anything here about Haas's obsession? Were there any other threats that I need to delete that say they're related to it? Yes. Because when Gam was gonna go visit Haas and all that mattered. Now it doesn't. I don't think we need a clock for them. I don't have a vision for the future, which is what the book says. Not right now. And that's that for that. So there are some more threats. I might have to make another bunch of another row even. So let's see. We discovered last session that Whisk secretly hates Kim. So I think if we go to Kim's secret admirer, here we go. What will Litz do if she learns the truth? I'm going to ask this probably to Whisk next session. Does Litz know that Whisk secretly hates Kim? Because Litz is going to go to Kim for help if she knows that Whisk hates her. Then. Mimi is Haas's assistant, or rather was, and now is going to be presumably put in charge of stuff, but also what the heck is going to happen with Haas and all that. So that's going to be... I don't know if I'm going to make that a threat. I think because that could be like 5 different things. I think I'm going to wait to make a threat until next session, after next session, when we have a more clear answer of what is happening as the fallout from this. Because the players are... actually, I could make the entire trial a threat. What would be the worst outcome now? If the players didn't say anything, what would happen? So, the try called... I don't know actually if this would be a threat if I go by my Apocalypse world. Where are you? There you are. The types of threats. I don't know if like a trial would fit into any of them. What have we got? Well, Fleece is a warlord. Well, we already know that. We know... Yeah, I don't think this is a threat. It doesn't fit in any threat type. This is just fallout from Fleece knowing what's happening, and Fleece is gonna do what Fleece does. And what does Fleece do? Let's look at her. Where is it? Fleece's recruitment, warlord dictator, to control. So Fleece will not. I think her thing won't be to kill Haas. By default, she's gonna want to just have him keep working on the plants and just have him watched. So, yeah, they need the food. If the players let that happen, then I may make another clock about whatever Haas is doing while still alive. But we'll see what happens. The more interesting thing right now is that we have 2 people, Kettle and... What should we call it? What did he call it? An Ascension? I think he called it an Ascension. Haas is turning people into plant people because they won't need food, and they will need water still, but they won't need food, so he says. So this will be called the Ascension with the question mark. The Ascended Ones. The Ascended Ones? Yeah. What type of this is this? The This would be... Oh, these guys are totally disease vectors. No, not a chance that they aren't. They want to... Craves contact, intimate, and or anonymous. Let me reduce that font size just a bit. But yeah, these are still people. They have not become well, they may have become inhuman. They have not become not people. They're still themselves for now. So the people, Haas is a cast member, of course, and as is Kettle, as is Dogmeat. What will, or how? Let's see how to put this. What will okay. The very first question I want to know is, will the what will Kettle, I'll just name them, will Kettle and Dogmeat be... What will happen to Kettle and Dogmeat? And I don't mean in their what's going to happen with their mutation. I mean, what's going to happen with Fleece? What will Fleece say? Yeah, I need to make this more pointed. What will Fleece do about Kettle and Dogmeat? Then, what... What will, Whisk's other employees, because they see each other as family, think of Kettle? Because that's going to matter. What's going to happen to Haas? Because by default, Fleece is going to want to have him watch and keep working on the plants because they need the food. But that might not happen. What's going to happen to Haas for sure? The two-player characters out of three of them, because Kim left to do doctor work. But Whisk and Grigsby, they're both there. I think they're both there when things are decided. So that's all good. And then, of course, the other major question is... What... Let's see. This is about the mutation. Who else, or rather, who will want the gift in double quotations? Because someone's going to be like, oh, those are plant. They don't have to eat. I like not having to eat. Let's do it. I don't think I have any questions. I think the mutation... Let's see. What unintended side effect or cost? Because I don't think this is a harmless, oh, suddenly they don't have to eat and there's no downside cost. I think there's something going on with this. It's not just... This is Apocalypse World. There's nothing that's purely okay or good or anything like that. So, yeah. Almost done. We're going to make a clock for this. Actually, I shouldn't have done that. I'll just rename it. I'll get rid of most of them. So, the first thing that happens with this... Okay. I think that Dogmeat's transformation complete. That's the first thing that's going to happen, because Dogmeat isn't done. Neither of them are done their metamorphosis of sorts. So Dogmeat's transformation will complete, in whatever way that means. I think he'll just become different. Then Kettle's transformation completes, because she was done afterwards. And people become divisive about them. I don't like, actually, the whole transformation completing. I'm going to change this. So, I think the transformation is done after the first while. Haas kept Dogmeat there for testing and for observation. I think that the first thing that's going to happen is, and this is going to start, like, yeah, everything's going to change. The clock will start ticking. Someone is gifted a seed. Whatever that means. Like, I think either Kettle or Dogmeat is gonna transform someone else via their touch. It's not a sex thing, I promise. Well, you know what? It actually might be. They do crave contact, intimate or anonymous. So, might be, it might not be. Anyways, so other people start becoming transformed. Just one or two people. Someone starts becoming transformed. Then, I'd say it just spreads. The gift spreads. After that, let me check my notes, because I have some ideas for what might happen. Yeah. See, we've seen someone very much related to the plant people, and all that they make themselves known as is father. They are going to be someone we will not see often. They're not quite the voice of the psychic Maelstrom, but they could be a lot of things. That's good. We'll have to remember that Fifi is owed 2 barter. That's going to be a thing we open up with. I don't think it's threat-worthy. It's just, if Grigsby pisses them off and refuses to give them it, then yeah, it might be threat-worth, but not right now. Reading my notes. The gift begins spreading. The rig is divided about the gift. Yeah, they would be. Actually, I'll put it here. People are divided about it. However, here, here, a call is given out. I think they start to hear. I think that I have this idea. The Maelstrom, as far as we experienced it in this past session, is the only time we only have seen it once. Is this verdant green graveyard, overgrown, warm and temperate, pleasant to live on, but covered with the graves of the people who came before. If it's verdant and green and good, and not cold, some people might want to go live there. So I think, I don't like a call, a summoning. The gifted are summoned, and I'm gonna switch this because I keep using the term gifted, and I think that makes the most sense. The gifted ones, someone is gifted a seed, The gift spreads. People are divided about it. The gifted are summoned. Then the gifted leave the rig. Or rather, the gifted start leaving the rig. This is when things start permanently changing. I think that the gifted enter the Maelstrom will be the final one. I don't think that's going to be the 11 o'clock one. The gifted arrive at their, like a summoning location. Arrive at, let's just call it the gateway. Capital G. And then the gifted will enter the Maelstrom. If any of the player characters are gifted and decide to go, because it is totally free will, still, though we'll see if that remains true. That's what happens. That changed text size. That's weird. Go back to 24. There we go, to 26, I guess. That's it. And so there is only one other thing I have to say about this. That I think is a good threat. And in terms of location, this is totally out, and it's not going to... I don't want to change the size, I just want to move it. There we go. It's totally out, because it's a Psychic Maelstrom threat. Out of all the notes I took, the only other thing is the relationship between Bean and Kim. And also, there's also a Grigsby thing I need to talk about. I don't think it's a threat. I think it'll be a rumor of things to come. I want to see Grigsby when he reaches into the Psychic Maelstrom and opens his mind to it. He draws. That's what he does. He just goes into a trance and draws something. With this and other Psychic Maelstrom related gifts and threats, I think as if those ramp up and keep going, and especially if he becomes a plant person, like I want to know what happens to Grigsby if he becomes a plant person. I think he will very much be offered the gift. Because these are switching. No, actually that shouldn't have happened. There we go. Those are all. I thought those were from an old threat. I think Grigsby will be offered the gift. Will Grigsby accept the gift? I think someone's going to offer it to him. I do have an idea of who, actually, but we'll see if that could absolutely change. If Mimi becomes gifted, the first thing she's going to do is go to Grigsby and offer it to him too. Just going to be like, but she might not at all. She's not at all into Haas's thing right now. If that changes, then it would change. But yeah, I think Grigsby will be an important person because he has an ear that can hear the Psychic Maelstrom. He has strange drawings, and he is also a truth seeker. That might compel him. We'll see. He might be compelled to... If the rig is going to hell, he might be compelled to just leave the rig behind once they start being summoned. And then the entire campaign might shift from a rig-based one to a traveling one. I don't know. So that's it. Other than Vonk died. Bean is pissed at Kim about that. Bean was looking into Litz. Bean didn't know it was Litz. Bean was just looking into whoever was looking into Kim, finding out what that was. So I think, but now Bean was doing that. Now Bean is kind of pissed at Kim because Vonk is dead. So I'm going to add a stakes question to this. Vonk is dead. Will a pissed off bean help Let's get even? Because he might. And I think by default he would. But Bean has his hands in many pies. So he might not be able to, might change his mind. Bean might get back on his good side. We'll see. I will double check my notes, but I think that's it. I have some more questions. In fact, I'm going to add this here. So, yeah, because that'll only fit here. How is justice met out on the rig? Because we haven't seen that yet, and we're going to see it at the beginning of next session. Like, whatever a crime, what is a crime, what is not, and I think that's less important. What's more important is what happens. Are they banished, killed, incarcerated? Because you still got to feed them if they're incarcerated and take care of them. Is there a prison? Probably a fairly small one, but maybe not. I have some questions to ask my players. I look forward to tomorrow's session. Thank you all for watching. I don't think that was 3 hours. What time was it? It was 1 hour. Wow. Okay, good. Good job, me. Thank you to everyone for watching. Tune in tomorrow. Same time as this started, at 4 p.m. my time. So, it's Mountain Time. So I think that's... Is that earlier? Yeah, I think it's earlier. I think that's 3 p.m. Pacific. Let me go check. Pacific time right now is an hour earlier. So yes, 3 p.m. Pacific. Tune in then. Watch, find out how all these things unfold. Thank you. Good night and goodbye.